Hey friends, Greg Kappas with Grace Global Network. Well, it has been a crazy year, 2020. I was actually getting ready to start a series on spiritual gifts a couple weeks ago, and I felt like the Lord checking my spirit and saying, no, you need to address some more things that are going on in society and here in the United States and other parts of the world. So I'm doing a brief series called Chaos in the Global Reset. I want to start with 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. For God is not a God of disorder or confusion. We would often say chaos, but of peace. Get that. God is not a God of disorder, but of peace, as in all the congregations of the people of God. So it was an expectancy that the local church and the individual was going to live in peace in our walk with Christ. I wrote a couple things here regarding this. Do you feel that peace describes you, or is chaos describing you and your spirit right now? Do you feel that peace describes your church? I feel it does with the church I go to, but does it describe your life and the church that you go to? I've talked to many, many pastors during this crazy year, and I can assure you that most pastors are disturbed. They're concerned. I've gone through it myself. Many churches are up in the arms. Elder teams having disagreements. People fighting over whether they should wear a mask or not. It's just been crazy. It's been really, really crazy. What does the word disorder mean? It has the idea, as I mentioned, disturbance, has the idea of confusion. A.T. Robertson, one of my favorite Greek scholars, probably my favorite, writes the following on this text. God is not a God of disorder, but of peace. We need this reminder today. And he wrote that years ago. But we need that now. We need that reminder today. God is a God of peace, not disorder. You know, and he goes on and says, orderly reverence is a mark of the churches. That's not true with most churches that I've been around or preached in or visited over the last year, or even over the last few years, but especially the last year. You know, we all are going through, I wrote a note here, we're all going through anxiety with the U.S. elections, but many of you in other countries have already experienced what we're going through here. Similar events in Latin America and Africa, the Middle East, Asia, and even in Europe. I know this, but I was still going through a struggle last week myself. Just being really honest, feeling anxious, having a hard time going to sleep. Can you relate? I know you can. You know, the Lord finally got my attention about the middle of last week and said, Greg, my son, Greg, be at peace. Be at peace. Live in the fruit of the Spirit. You know, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Started thinking through a few things and working on a few things in my own life on some tips of how to deal with this chaos, this confusion, this disorder. I know this is a principle for local churches, but it's also a principle in our lives because local churches don't function well if there's confusion everywhere, and certainly that's not God's role. His general play in life is not to bring confusion and chaos. A couple things I learned. One is get some good sleep. Yeah, we all stay up for the election results, but we're still staying up. Just get some good sleep. Be sure if you need 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours. I've got a few friends that go on 4 or 5 hours. I don't know how they do it, but get some good sleep. Whatever is your body rhythm that you need, get it. Second, pray and rest in Jesus and His Word. If the prophetic calendar is unfolding and we're at Revelation 4 and 5 right now, it's okay. God's going to take care of us as His children. I got my own theological views as I understand the Word of God. I believe we'll be raptured up. But whether we're raptured up at the end of the tribulation, middle of the tribulation, or pre-tribulation, which I tend to lean toward, whatever your view is, it's okay. Be at peace, rest in God and in His Word. Third, how about try not to watch the news or be on your social media within an hour of going to sleep. I was making the mistake of checking the news, checking election results, checking world results, reading Amir Sephardi, who I love, and updates from Israel and around the world, and yet doing that right before I'm going to sleep. Not a good idea. Try to pace yourself with at least a half an hour, if not an hour, whether it's meditating on the Word, reading a good book, but don't be watching the news and social media with all the chaos going on right before you go to sleep. Another one I wrote down is, how about playing worship music in the home, in the auto, in your car, possibly even at work, if you're allowed to, or if you run your own business. How about playing worship music constantly or regularly? How about while you're working out and getting some good exercise with your earphones or whatever you're wearing to listen to your music? How about working out and getting some good worship music on? Then journaling. I love to journal. It's part of my prayer life. And then finally I wrote down, just walk in the Spirit. We're supposed to walk in the Word of God, and we're supposed to walk in the Spirit. Got a few closing comments, and it's good to be with you all, and I'll have some fun with you these next few weeks, and then we'll get into spiritual gifts as we're approaching the Christmas season. But I put, we all realize there's something very evil. Come on, friends. We know something very evil, very deceitful is going on in our world. However, try not even to focus on the individuals. You have to some, but focus on the greater issue of spiritual warfare. There's God and his angels. There's Satan and his demons. This confusion is not from God. The chaos that's going on is not from God. It has the character of Satan. But also remember, along with having the character of Satan on it, when you start thinking about the voting issues that have been going on in the United States, or what you've gone through in other parts of the world, remember that your neighbor, perhaps a friend, perhaps a someone across the street or across the stall at work, just remember your neighbor is not your enemy. Even if they have a different voting party and a different person they voted for, they're not your enemy. The enemy is Satan and his demons. Keep perspective. I lost mine a little bit getting anxious. I want to help you. It's chaotic, but God is in control, and he certainly is not the author of confusion. God bless you. Signing out. Looking forward to being with you again.